Hi, I'm Hazel, and today I'm going to show you my new $1,000-ish webcam setup using a Sony RX100 Mark V camera with an Elgato Camlink. Before we get started, I want to throw out there that nobody has sponsored me, nobody is paying me, nobody sent me any of these products for free. I bought them all and it was kind of expensive. I'm going to start by showing you a quick unboxing so you can see what comes with the camera while talking a little bit about what my goals were for this setup. I want to show you some video examples of what this looks like and compare that to the other cameras that I have around, and at any given time I will have in a little box like right here-ish the camera that is being used to record what you are presently looking at. So right now I am using the RX100 with the Camlink. We'll talk about the pros and cons of both the Camlink and this particular camera, and then in the description I'm going to put a list of all of the settings that I adjusted to get this working with the Camlink, and then a list of the settings that you want to experiment with if you have this and you're trying to set it up like this at home and you want to get the best quality out of your camera. So I've been looking for a camera specifically to use with the Elgato Camlink for a while now. Up until this point, I've been recording videos with a Canon Rebel T6i and live streaming with a Logitech Brio. The goal here is to make it easier to record my videos and at the same time be able to get higher quality cam video for my live streams. I knew it would be easier to get a camera with better quality than my webcam, but I also wanted one that would match the quality of my Canon T6i so that I could easily record my weekly vlog without messing with batteries or importing. Almost all of my videos are recorded right in front of my computer, so this makes a lot of sense for me. The Camlink is an Elgato product that makes a proper camera function as a webcam, but it won't work with everything. You need a camera that can do a full resolution, clean output over HDMI, and you need it to be able to run indefinitely while plugged into power. That first one vetoed my Rebel T6i. Lucky for me, Elgato has a list of cameras on their website that are confirmed to work with the Camlink. I'll link that in the description, and that's where I started. The RX100V is far from the only option for this setup, but I liked it for the size and level of quality that you get for the price point. Having a full-sized camera with full-sized lenses on the desk when you're live streaming is clunky and hazardous, and you have to spend a lot more money to get a noticeable quality difference. So here, this has been recorded with a Logitech Brio. This is a $200 webcam from Logitech, and I have been using this for all of my recent live streams. And then this here is the Canon Rebel T6i with the kit lens. You're going to notice that I look closer. The minimum zoom on this kit lens is not very zoomed out. It's been a good camera, and I'm still convinced that it's excellent quality for the money, and I'm still going to keep and use it whenever it's appropriate, but it's just really awkward for me to set up and use every day. And here we are back with the Sony RX100V. So obviously a big step up in sharpness over the webcam. The video quality seems to me to be very close to my T6i, and it has a couple of important advantages in other areas. So one, it's compatible with the Camlink, whereas the T6i was not, so that makes this whole thing much easier. Secondly, it has much better autofocus, so I can come up really close and kind of creep you out. I can scooch kind of far away. Some very flattering angles, and even though I'm using a fairly low depth of field here, the camera finds me, it focuses on me, and it does so without doing that kind of like popping in and out thing that most cameras, including my T6i, will do, which I appreciate, especially for something like live streaming. Like, when you're live streaming, you're going to be moving around sometimes, and you want to be in focus without having to worry about it. The Sony can also output double the frame rate. This will do 60 frames per second, whereas the T6i would only do 30. If you take it off the Camlink and you record normally, the Sony RX100V can actually do 4K for 5 minutes at a time. There is a 5-minute recording limit when you're doing 4K, so I'm probably not going to use that too much, but you know, it's nice to have it there. Next, let's go over the pros and cons of the Elgato Camlink. So a big pro is that it is plug and play, and I didn't believe it. I was thinking, you know, I've got a PC, I've got a Mac, it really does plug and play, and you know, it's a very expensive adapter, but it works really well. Anything that my computer does that can use a webcam can play nicely with the Camlink, and I really appreciate that. Huge thing about recording with the Camlink is that you get to use your big computer monitor as your camera monitor, so I can see much more clearly what's going on, what I'm actually recording as I'm recording it. The best thing about recording with a Camlink is that you are recording directly to your hard drive. Your camera's not actually writing anything to the memory card at all, and that gives you a couple of really awesome advantages. So there's no recording time limit. Most cameras will cap you at 30 minutes of video and make you start over again so that they don't have to pay for, I think it's camcorder import taxes. On top of there being no timeout, I hope that your hard drive is bigger than your camera memory card. You can essentially record massive amounts of data to your computer directly without having to worry about your memory card getting full, so that's awesome. And then my favorite is that it just completely takes out the import step. There is no more, you know, record and then stop record and then pull it over and then import it and then figure out what each of the files are and then name them and then like delete them off your camera's memory card. All of that is gone. You are just recording directly to your computer with OBS or, you know, whatever you want to use. And generally speaking, if you can handle the drawbacks of recording like this, it's the best thing ever. Now, there are a couple of drawbacks here, and there are 3 specifically that come to mind. So one, while it is a magical adapter, it is basically a $100 adapter. It's quite expensive. It's also a little bit wide, so you may find that it covers adjacent ports. If you have any ports that are like laterally adjacent on a laptop or something like that, you may need to use a USB extension. So it's a little bit pricey, but considering how well it does what it does, that's mostly all right. The second drawback is that a lot of cameras will not work with it because of the requirements that the camera has to meet in order to be Camlink compatible. All the Camlink is doing really is taking the HDMI out of your camera and then tricking your computer into thinking that's a webcam feed. That's really it. And there's a lot of really nice and very expensive and very popular cameras that do not pass those tests. So, you know, you can get a Camlink to work with your crazy camera, and there's a good chance that it's not going to work. So while it's not exactly a fault of the Camlink and more just kind of a byproduct of how it does what it does, not a lot of cameras will work with it, and that's why I specifically went out to get one that would work with it. And then the third drawback, which is kind of an obvious one, is that you are tethered to your desk. So if you are a more traditional video maker and you are out and about and you don't want to be literally plugged into your laptop, of course this isn't going to work for you. For somebody like me who's making World of Warcraft videos all day and live streaming, and I'm always at my desk even when I'm not recording, it's not really a problem for me. As far as the camera, the RX100 Mark V specifically, some of the pros are that it is very small, super portable, means that you can take it out as a normal camera, just like in your life if you want one. It will fit in pockets, and not just men pockets, but like, it will fit in everybody's pocket. It's got excellent autofocus, which makes it great for streaming. The screen flips out to be front-facing, which is excellent if you want it for selfies or just for traditional vlogging. It does not need a dummy battery in order to get permanent power. You just plug it straight into USB power, and it will run for as long as you want it to. The cable that they do give you is about this long, so I do have it plugged into a USB extension here, but those are fairly inexpensive and it does work just fine like that. And last, this camera has settings for days. A lot of the reviews were actually complaining about that and saying that there are so many settings that it's overwhelming to navigate, but I would rather have them and not understand them than understand them and need them and not have them. And I have found a great deal of them to be very useful, and again, I will put all of the useful ones that you want to take a look at in the description below this video. For cons on this camera, there are three big ones. First of all, it does not have a touchscreen, which sounds silly, but like I said, there's a lot of settings and a lot of menus, and a touchscreen would make it so much easier, and it just doesn't have one, which kind of sucks. Second, there is no audio input. You cannot connect a microphone to it, and that alone rules this out as being like my sole travel video camera, because the sound that you get with it is what you get. That doesn't make a difference at all for desk videos and streaming, because I'm not using that microphone, I'm using this microphone. So that's not a big deal for me, but for a camera of this price range, it's weird. And the last thing is that 5-minute limit on 4K recording. I would love to be able to record my weekly vlog in 4K. Of course, the Camlink won't do that. The Elgato Camlink does cap out at 1080p 60 frames per second. Even if I abandoned the Camlink and just tried to normally record a 4K vlog with this, I'm gonna have to do it in 5-minute segments, and I would have to take about 6 of them in order to spit out all of the words that I typically want to spit out, so it's not really gonna work for me. But in order to get a camera that does all of these other things and also has really good looking 4K, you're gonna have to spend a bunch more money. It's gonna get a bunch bigger. You're gonna have to spend even more money for some lenses for it. So I think that this is a really good option for a desktop recording and streaming camera with the Elgato Camlink in this price range. So that is my new webcam setup, and really quick shout out to the tripod that I have this thing on right now. Again, not sponsored, but just like really heavy duty and a really good size for sticking on a desk. None of my bigger ones were about to make that happen, so I really appreciate it, and it feels sturdy enough to not drop my new kind of expensive camera off the edge of my desk, so that's good. I will put links to all of the products that I talked about today in the description of this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye!